Stealth. The act of moving, proceeding, or acting in a covert way. With the right mindset, tools, and the correct execution, this can be an extremely challenging and rewarding way to play Battlefield Hardline. This playstyle, should you choose to accept it, is all about staying out the way, remaining undetected, and occasionally going spec ops on people's asses. Of course, you'll still be engaging in the close quarters chaos that is the most part of Battlefield Hardline, but there's no reason we still can't be a ninja even in those situations. If you are looking for something a bit different to the typical playstyle of just charging around like a head case, then this might be for you. I find this makes me think more strategically, move more cautiously, and pick my targets a bit better. And personally, I find this a hell of a lot more exciting way to play Battlefield than just running around with an AKM like I typically do. Not that that way isn't fun by any means, but it's nice to break the game up by playing in different ways. Right, so for our loadout, for the police side, this is what we're going to be using. We're going to use the M16, and the reason behind this is because it has the most range of any of the rifles. And when you chuck a suppressor on a gun, it takes a lot of range off the weapon, so we're going to need that little bit of extra range that this one's going to give us with the suppressor on it, because we're going to be out of the way taking a lot of long shots. We're going to need that extra range. For a scope, I'm going with a 3.5. These just work really well for me. Some people might find them a bit too zoomed in if you should go into any close quarter stuff. Ideally, you want something with a little more magnification than just the standard sights though. Obviously, this is going to help with longer shots. For those close range encounters, that's why I've thrown on the canted red dot sight. These do make life easier in those close quarter situations, but occasionally the scope can kind of obscure your view a little bit, and you may want to switch back to the main scope. Suppressor, obviously, you're going to need this. This is the biggest part. You are going to lose a lot of range with this, but don't worry, that's why we've chosen the gun we've chosen. Then we have our grip. I'm going with the stubby grip because this increases our accuracy, which is of course going to help at range. Our bullets are going to miss less of their mark. Camos, do what you want. Obviously nothing too leery. Personally, I just prefer my guns black. Now for the pistol, P226 is probably the best pistol. Although I've only just unlocked it, I don't really use pistols that much. The only time I use them is if I run out of ammo in the middle of a fight and I'll switch to my pistol. I've been using the 9.2F. So the G17 or the P226 are probably the best to go for stat wise. Whichever you want, they don't really make too much of a difference. I haven't used a pistol enough yet to get a suppressor, so throw one on if you've got one, but again, like I say, you're never really going to use the pistol that much. We're going to be sticking with our primary weapon. If you run out of ammo, go and find some ammo rather than just run around with the pistol, I'd say. But the pistol's kind of whatever. First aid kit, going to help you stay alive, Captain Obvious. If you're making your escape, maybe you've been spotted, maybe you've been shot at, these can help you get out of there. Next up, grapple hook. This thing is pretty essential to the way we're going to move. This is going to help us get a lot of kills because we're going to be super sneaky and come up behind people. We'll go into that later though. Flashbangs. Place one of these bad boys in the right place and you'll be able to clear a room no problem with your silencer on. If you're worried that maybe you don't have your frag grenade, you're not going to be able to get as many kills, right, you'll be surprised with this, trust me. For a melee weapon, I'm just going with a knife. I like the nice quick kill and then I can go. I don't like to hang around too long, so interrogations and stuff are a bit too much. But if you want to go for a police baton, interrogate people, go for it. Outfit, the darker the better, really. So that's our loadout for the police side. As for those evil criminals, we're pretty much going to go with an identical setup. For some reason my guy's got his grapple hook out. He fucking loves that grapple hook. Anyway, M416, we're going to choose this for the same reason we chose the M16. It has the most range. Everything is pretty much an identical setup to what I had on the Popo side. You could always switch up the flashbang for a smoke grenade. This can definitely be useful in the suppressed situation as well. Definitely lots of good opportunities to use these, whether it be to help you or hinder your enemies. And as a slight alternative, you could play as a professional and use a DMR silenced. Same setup, same ideas, works pretty much the same. You've got a bit more range, but you're going to struggle at close quarters because obviously it's a DMR. But you do have this trait called stealth training, which makes things quieter, which is pretty cool, although kind of useless for a sniper because you're not really going to be getting into close quarters stuff. So I don't really know why footsteps and opening doors is going to make a difference to you, but it's kind of a cool trait nonetheless. And I think using a DMR in Hardline is far more satisfying than using a sniper rifle. The sniping in Hardline is very easy. I find it's not very rewarding. There's not as much sway in it as there is in like Battlefield 4 where it's harder to snipe people. In this it's very easy and you've got like almost rapid fire sniper rifles now compared to Battlefield 4. So it's not really that fun to use sniper rifles, I find. So using a DMR silence is a far more challenging and satisfying way to play as a professional, in my opinion. And all the stuff I'm about to tell you will apply to this loadout as well, but there is the disadvantage at close quarters that you will have. So I'm going to gear this video more towards the first two loadouts. but by all means, give this one a try. Firstly, to notice map design, on game modes like Heist and Blood Money and such, most of the maps are designed with like this central point where most of the fighting goes on, and then around the edges, all around the edges, is pretty much empty map space where no one ever really is, other than people running from their spawn. But for the most part it's completely empty, so it's all about using that space where no one is. Like you can see here, for example, I'm just hiding in a bush near the edge of the map. Just hiding in a bush. And I'm holding this bag carrier to the right side, not letting him get near his extraction zone. And they still have no clue where I am. No one's taken a shot at me yet. I'm just picking guys off all over the place, playing my objective, holding my ground, and doing my part for the team. With this playstyle, I'm definitely not encouraging you to just look for kills and only think this is team deathmatch, because if you want to do that, just go and play team deathmatch. It's really frustrating to play an objective based game mode and have people just running around trying to get kills and not playing the objective at all. So always play your objective. Next thing is to not stay in one place for too long, for two reasons. Number one, people will eventually figure out where you are if you keep killing people, and they will, if they're a vengeful bastard like me, come back and get you. Number two, you may not be able to play the objective from where you are. If I stayed in that bush and the bag was all the way over the other side of the map, I wouldn't really be playing the objective at all, so it would be useless. Stay on the move, the game will evolve and you have to adapt as you go. If you do decide to venture into the main battle area, just move slowly, there's no need to rush, be cautious. There's obviously a degree of pot luck in this game where someone may come up behind you just by chance, or you may come up behind someone else by chance. But use your minimap and try to be aware of what's going on all the time. Using your minimap is probably the key thing for any playstyle, whatever class or role you're playing on the team. It's important to use the map to your advantage as well, you know, use the high ground, use your grapple hook to get to places where normal people can't get to. Then you can really be effective from all sorts of angles and ranges. And get to know the maps as well, get to know where enemies or even you, because wherever you like to go, enemies probably like to go there as well. So get to know the maps, know the places where people like to hang out, because chances are there'll probably be someone there at some point. Another useful thing you could be doing is simply covering your team. If you've got some of your guys moving through a treacherous part of the map, you're out the way, you're hidden, just give them some cover fire. If you can shoot at an enemy and make them duck down, make them stop firing at your teammates, give them time to get to cover, that's as good as a kill in my eyes. You'll see here I just spotted a guy on the roof, so these guys below know he's there now. They take some shots at him, I take him out, and I'll probably save 2 or 3 of those guys from getting shot in the back, because they never would have seen him up on that roof. So remember, no eye in team and all that. One thing to note, which is not really a big deal but it can sometimes be quite frustrating, is if you're in a squad with a bunch of randoms, they may spawn on you when you're trying to be covert and stealthy, and it is very frustrating and it can give your position away. Especially if someone spawns in on you and then decides to sit down next to you and starts firing off their loud unsuppressed weapon, and it just completely gives you away. So you may want to drop out of a squad on a smaller map where there's not too much running to do. On the bigger maps then yeah, you probably want to stay in the squad because it'll just take too long to get everywhere. But yes, overall that is the playstyle. Remember to float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, because the bullets can't hit what the eyes can't see. Yeah, modified quotes. Grapple time. First off, let me show you the power of the grapple. This is the map Riptide, and you may recognise this roof. I'm going to slap my grapple on the side and climb up that mother. I'm going to pop over the top. This first guy's going to be so startled at where I came from, he's not going to shoot me in time. I proceed to clear the roof, taking care of all the infidels. However, the final one manages to take me down, but fear not, one of my teammates has followed my lead, climbed up my grapple, he takes out the last guy and saves my ass. So with a bit of teamwork, we have taken the roof, all thanks to the power of the grapple. Now the whole reason to bring the grapple along is to come at people from angles where they don't expect you. Very often their eyes will gravitate towards doors or entrances where people are likely to come from. They often forget about all the other places that people can come from in Battlefield Hardline because of the new grapple, which is an awesome addition by the way. So get your grapple on and use that element of surprise to your advantage, because it is one of the greatest advantages in battle. You never know what you might find at the top. You might find one lone guy who's ready to be stabbed in the neck, or you might find 5 guys who just shred you to pieces. Either way, you get an opportunity to do something special with the grapple hook. And that is to appear from nowhere on some unsuspecting person or persons, take them all out before they even know you were there, and you know they're all sat there going, "Oh, where the fuck did he just come from? Oh, fucking noob." And that is a special feeling. Flashbangs and smoke grenades. I'm sure I don't have to tell you how to use these, but these could be a great addition to the stealth playstyle. They couple really nicely with a silenced weapon. I found on occasion that you could throw a flashbang into a room blind a couple of guys that are in there, and then without even entering the room, you could just poke your head through the door, take them all out and be gone before they even knew what hit them. The other beauty of the flashbangs is that you get more than one of them, so this gives you multiple opportunities to get some free kills basically, because when people are blind they're pretty much useless, unless they're giving it the old spray and pray. As for smoke grenades, these can be a great aid in your entrance or exit or escape from a situation, whichever you may need them for, or just simply to cover your crossing of somewhere. They can also be used as a great distraction, so if you throw them in a doorway for example, people will then look at that doorway expecting you to charge through like Rambo, but then you could flank around to a different entrance to the room or a window somewhere, or use your grapple hook of course, and sneak up on them. Finally, let's summarise this playstyle. Be covert, keep your head down, stay out of the way, and use your advantages when you can. Be patient, take your time, move slowly, pick your targets well, don't go charge around the map firing all your ammo every person you see, because this is just going to give you away and give your game away pretty damn quickly. Use the element of surprise well, it's one of the biggest advantages in all kinds of warfare. Attack people where they don't expect to be attacked from, and you can have them all dead before they even realise where you are. And of course, play the objective. Master these things and you shouldn't have any trouble adapting to the stealth playstyle. It's all about keeping your eyes open, being ready, and adapting to every situation. You may want to switch up your loadout to fit certain situations. Let's say you're playing on a really small map like Bank Job. You may want to switch to a standard scope because it's hard to stay out of the way on that map, so you're always going to need to be inside to be kind of in the action, where a smaller scope, a less zoomed scope, would be more beneficial for you. Now playing in this way can be really effective. You can rack up some great scores and great kill to death ratios even without the use of explosive grenades. I was racking up some 2.0, 3.0 KDs, and it's really easy to not get too many deaths because you're staying out of the way most of the time, right? So it's purely coming down to that and finding the right places and the right times and the right opportunities to get those kills and add them all up. So if you can master this playstyle, you will be a deadly silent force to be reckoned with. It may not be for everyone, and it definitely works better on some maps than it does on others. It may not work so well in more all over the place game modes like Conquest or Hotwire. I haven't tried it in those modes. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It works well in one life game modes like Rescue. It can work really well in those game modes actually, very tactical, very strategic. But either way, give this a go, let me know how it works for you. If you're lucky, you might walk in on a toilet party like I'm about to.